Okay guys, CZW Proving Grounds review. This show was actually pretty good. I liked a lot of these matches. I thought it was a decent show, and for I think $4.99, it was definitely worth the money. So I would have to recommend this one. If you want to see it, the replay is up on the CZW website. I think czwrestling.com. And like I said, $4.99, and the main event was great. So I was definitely happy watching that. I think they started the show with a pre-show. We didn't get to see any of this. It was Dustin Reyes beat Kid Osborne, and Alex Colon defeated Niles Young. So that wasn't actually on the show, but that was like the dark matches or something like that. But yeah, overall it was decent. It had a great opener. It started with Black G's versus Drake Younger for the World Junior Heavyweight title. This was just a really good match. Drake wins with the Drake's Landing. Black G's has to be carried from the ring. He suffered some type of injury. I'm not laughing at that. I don't know if he was really hurt, if this is a work. However, he was laying there in the ring, and some guys were like moving him, and I know you're not really supposed to move them if they're really hurt, and they just ended up kind of carrying him to the back like a big baby. It looked really weird and goofy, but yeah, hopefully everything's okay with Black G's. Then Larry Legend announces a new DJ Hyde t-shirt over at the shop. If anybody wants to stop by and pick up one of those. Yeah, who would want a DJ Hyde shirt? I can't even believe they have a new one, which means they have multiple variations. Anyways, they have a Lucky 13 versus Ruckus with Robbie Marino match. Ruckus hit what looked like a tilt-a-whirl slam on the top rope, which looked pretty cool. That was a good spot. Lucky wins with a variation of the Canadian Destroyer. Ruckus has him in an Alabama Slam, and he flips out into a Canadian Destroyer and gets the win. So Lucky 13 wins that one. Also pretty good match. Alexander James with Tofinga versus Latin Dragon versus Shane Strickland. Shane Strickland's music is the Jackson 5's I Want You Back. That is awesome. Shane gets a headbutt from Tofinga, and Alexander James gets the win with a fisherman's suplex, I believe it was. This was okay. It wasn't amazing, not as good as the first two matches, but it was still decent. I don't know much because I don't follow CZW like every single show, but they have some storyline where Danny Havoc got Alexander James hooked on PCP or something. I'm serious. That's the angle. And I don't know what the hell is up with that. The announcers are putting it over, saying that he just got done with a stay in rehab because of his PCP addiction. It's really bizarre, but it's CZW. So DJ Hyde comes out. He puts down the fans. He announces the Tournament of Death first round matches and stips. Drunken Scaffold match with Danny Havoc, Devin Moore, and 13. Ultraviolent Ladders with Drake and Rory Mondo. That's kind of disappointing, but I expected him to be on here. Panes of Glass match with Masada and Scott Summers. I have no idea who that is. And Kobayashi versus Matt Tremont. So we get those guys announced, and that seriously can't be the entire group of competitors for Tournament of Death, right? I mean, I'm really hoping it's not. If that's the entire first round, then this is probably not going to be a very good Tournament of Death this year, which is incredibly disappointing. So I hope they have some more names to be announced in the future. But Tremont comes out. DJ says his match is going to be a light tube bundles with bats match. Toothpick bats, thumbtack bats. He says maybe even a Kinzen bat. He says that Joker couldn't be there for the match tonight, so it's going to be Tremont versus Greg Excellent. Greg Excellent comes out. DJ calls him a fat, hairy garbage pail kid, which I thought was actually a pretty good line. And he says that these 5-year-old teenage girls love you. So DJ completely failed, as usual. And he makes the match Ultraviolent Rules. They do some comedy. Tremont has a big fork with him, so Excellent pulls out a small little plastic fork. Tremont breaks the fork, and then Excellent just lays down. But they have a match. Tremont doesn't want to use the fork, but DJ keeps throwing it in, telling him to use it on Excellent, but Tremont refuses. They're friends or something. And he keeps trying to get Excellent to use a chair on Tremont, but he won't. So DJ eventually runs in, lays both guys out with a chair. He hits Tremont in the head, then he hits Excellent in the back. Excellent falls on Tremont and gets the win. This was pretty lame. Then we get Jake Christ versus Dave Christ for the Wired TV Championship. They have a okay match, but then Dave, the champion, who's the heel, gets himself disqualified rather than lose the belt by using a ladder. The announcer actually screws this up and says, "Your winner is Jake Christ, however, a title cannot change hands on a count out." But it was actually a disqualification, so he kind of botched that. Afterwards, Dave hits the sliced bread on his brother on top of the ladder, and that's it. I didn't really care too much for this one. Then we get the Runaways versus Azriel and Bandito Jr. for the tag titles. This was okay. Crowd really didn't care much for this at all. Alex Colon attacks Ryan Slater with a Shining Wizard. Azriel and Bandito Jr. hit the double stomp DDT combo for the win. It was okay. Like I said, it was just average, really average, and the crowd could care less, which did not help this at all. But afterwards, Alex Colon and Chrissy Rivera cut a promo saying that the four of them, Bandito and Azriel, are now the Four Loco. Afterwards, the Runaways start fighting with each other. Joe Gacy hits a powerbomb and a splash on Slater, and he says that it's his time now. This crowd also could care less. When Gacy was cutting his promo, they were chanting, "Shut the fuck up," stuff like that. And nobody cared about this. It was kind of boring. I do have to say that Slater did an awesome job selling these injuries that he took from the match and getting beat up by Gacy afterwards. I thought he did a good job selling. Then Masada comes out. He challenges Davey Richards, low-key, and it's like an open challenge, and Devin Moore accepts the challenge. So, yeah, I thought there was one part in this match where the announcers actually mentioned that, I can't remember what he hits him with. I think he's in a submission, or he hits him with some type of Hurricane Rana or something. And the announcers say, "These men have been through cinder blocks and fire. I don't think that's going to put them out." Well, why even mention that? If that's the case, and yes, they've been in crazy hardcore matches, then none of this shit's going to put them out. So why even bring that up? I thought that was really stupid of the announcers, or the commentators. But Masada wins with a Death Valley driver from the second rope, and that was it. It was okay. Really short, though. I thought this came across as really short for a world title match. And yeah, I'm not like the biggest Devin Moore fan, or Masada fan in general anyway, but yeah, it was kind of short and not much to it. Then we get the intermission match while they set up the No Rope Barbed Wire, which was another Big Japan Wrestling match, which I was like, hell yes, because I really liked the one they did for Best of the Best 11. And this one we get Kobayashi Takeda versus Jun Kasai and Jackie Numazawa. Now, Jun Kasai is probably my favorite Big Japan deathmatch guy ever. I think he's awesome. He's just the craziest guy, legit. Just the dude has done everything. So he's definitely my favorite. So I was glad to watch this, but it was like your typical tag team death match. They used some light tubes, they used barbed wire boards, they had some thumbtacks. Takeda hits a German suplex onto a barbed wire board on Numazawa for the win. This was decent. Definitely not one of the best Big Japan matches I've seen. I thought it was okay. There was a few botches in this match, but it was alright. Not as good as the one at Best of the Best, where I actually mentioned that I thought the intermission match was the best match. This match was definitely not. It was okay, though. My big problem with Big Japan, it feels like to me it's always the same core guys. They do different matches, but it's always the same guys wrestling each other. They just swap it out. And I know that's kind of normal. However, it's just not very many. It's like 5. Jun Kasai, Numazawa, Takeda, Kobayashi, Ito. Who else is there? There's like a couple more guys, but it just feels like it's the same guys, and it has been for years. I'm sure they have more, but I don't ever see them when I'm just looking up death matches or watching death matches in general from Big Japan. It's always these guys in some combination with each other. Always. So that's my only complaint with it. However, they do put on the best death matches in the world, period. Then we get the main event, Danny Havoc versus Tom Green, or Drew Gulak, in a no-rope barbed wire match. This was awesome. Very good. Drew Gulak is not a deathmatch guy, and he was really out of his element as a worker, but he pulled this off amazingly. He took his bumps, and it was just really good. The match starts. Alexander James and Tofinga come out with Gulak. Devin Moore and 13 are with Havoc. They send both their teams to the back. They're not going to have anybody interfere in this fight. They really built this up good with Gulak and Havoc being friends, and now they're enemies. And it was just a great start, really technical. They really built the pace up to the barbed wire spots. Then Gulak's group comes back out. Havoc's group comes out. For some reason, Drake and Jake Christ come out, and they all start brawling around. Gulak whips Havoc with a piece of barbed wire. He actually wraps Havoc up in it and then gets him in the Gulak. And eventually Havoc wins with the General Order 24, which is just like a modified Death Valley driver, and he hits that onto some barbed wire in the ring for the win. So Havoc goes over here, and I thought it was just a really, really good match and a decent blow-off to their feud. I thought that the entire show as a whole was pretty good just because of the $4.99 price tag, this match being great, the opener being great. The first couple matches were okay too. So I thought as a whole, I mean, $4.99, that's not a bad deal. It was a decent show for just proving ground CZW, but I'm not sure if they have another show. I think they may have one more, and then it's Tournament of Death. So hopefully there will be more names announced for that and stipulations, I hope, because I was looking forward to that show this year to do a video on it, and I just wanted to deliver. And I don't know if they have enough guys for that right now. But that was it, really. And the last thing I hear as the show goes off is Larry Legend saying you can get juicy hot dogs and hamburgers at the snack stand for $1 off. And then that was it. That was the end of the pay-per-view. So I was just laughing my ass off at that. But yeah, that was CZW Proving Grounds, guys. I hope you liked the review. Leave your thoughts on it in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Bye.